morning. This is Rich Sierra, President of Florida Small Business Legal Center. Thanks for listening. This is episode 42 of Business SOS. If you listened to last week's episode, we did it from Vegas. We're very excited. Hope they can do that again. We'll do that again in the near future. Certainly want to thank the people at Sticky Paws Studio for allowing me the opportunity to have the podcast there. They're very gracious, and they were really put out the red carpets for us. So really, really excited that we had that opportunity. And of course, the people at Populi for coordinating that for us to be able to do an offsite podcast. So that podcast dealt with training. We had my friend Glenn Potter. He's the training manager for the Westgate Resorts in Las Vegas. He had over 30 years experience in training. And we talked about the importance of training employees properly and how good training can lead to profitability in your business. So if you haven't listened to that episode, I encourage you to listen to it. It was very, very informative, and I certainly hope, and I plan to bring Glenn back again because we can really go into a lot more topics regarding training and development of employees, especially as it relates to small businesses. So that was very exciting. I also want to give a shout out to the people at the Boca Raton Observer and the February issue of the magazine and the online issue as well. They featured my law firm and they featured me in the Men of the Moment section of the magazine that would feature small business owners in the South Florida area, especially Palm Beach. And I'm very honored to be part of that group of other entrepreneurs and business owners. And certainly very grateful for Boca Raton Observer to feature me in their publication. So we'll have a link to that particular issue in the show notes as well. Before I start, I want you to participate in the show. If you have any legal questions you'd like me to address and talk about in the next episode or next few episodes, send me a question, any legal issue any question that you might have, send it to me at rich@richsierra.com. And if I select your question, I'll go ahead and send you a copy of my book, Business SOS, 8 Common Legal Mistakes Business Owners Make and How to Avoid Them. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can ask for it at your local bookstores. Today we're going to talk about, in fact, this topic came from my son, Michael. In a few, I think about 2 months ago, they were actually, him and his fiancée, Caroline Castile, they were guests in my show. So I'm talking about partnerships and vision and talk about digital marketing. But he asked me a question yesterday, say, hey, Dad, I've been offered opportunities to become a shareholder in a company. How do I go about that? So that is a very good question, and I'm going to basically address that today. So today's topic says, I want to become a partner in a company. What should I do? So, and I get that often. Sometimes people bring partners into a company because they either have financial resources, they're going to put money into the company, or they have technical skills that will add more value to the company, which will allow the business owner to perhaps divide responsibilities, divide duties, or perhaps specialize. So there's many reasons why you want to bring somebody in as a partner. But if you recall several episodes back, we talk about partnerships. So this kind of goes hand in hand, and the partnerships issue, the partnership episode, but I'm going to be focusing primarily what to look for. How do you go about doing that? And again, does not apply to every situation. Please do not construe this as legal advice. I want to talk about general topics here, but I want to give you general guidelines about what to look for. Okay, so say you want to invest in a company, you have $100,000 you want to invest, and say it's a small, local car dealership, just for example. In car dealerships, you need small dealers, you need cash to be able to purchase autos through auction, and then you sell them. So it's a business that requires capital. So if you're one of those that is looking to invest in a small company, one of the first things you got to do is due diligence. just as if you were buying into the company, because in a sense, you're buying into that company. It might be a minority shareholder, might be an equal partner, but you're buying ownership into that company. Or even if you're doing, say, sweat equity or trading, your services or your expertise, you're buying into that company. So you would do the due diligence just as if you were buying into it. And their due diligence is a whole topic in and of itself, but I'll give you some guidelines. I believe that, and in a prior episode, I did offer the due diligence checklist to anybody who was listening to the show and was interested in it. Just for listening is something that I just don't publish out there, but if you send me an email, happy to send it to you. So you obviously want to find out about the owner or the owners. If most likely the owner, find out about their background. I would just find out a little bit more about why they need to bring a partner, why he or she needs to bring a partner. I will certainly ask for the financials of that company, certainly last 3 years tax returns. I will ask for the current profit and loss statements. I would ask whether or not those financial statements are prepared by an accountant, and that's very important, whether they're self-prepared or an accountant prepares them. So you're going to find out. It's important to know that. The quality of the return and the accuracy of the return, in my opinion, is going to be different than if somebody does it on their own, especially with dealing with business tax returns. So when you have a CPA signing of those returns, there's some due diligence CPA will go through to make sure that the tax returns are accurate and that you can rely upon them. If it's a business owner doing his or her own taxes, that's not his expertise. It is likely that mistakes will be made. So, you want to find out, okay, can I rely upon them? You want to get the bank statements, get the last, 2 years of bank statements. If not, get the last year to find out what is the cash flow position of the company. What is the statement of cash flow? How is money coming in? What is coming out? Where they're paying the expenses? What is the owner getting paid from the company? What is getting paid as salary, distributions, or just taking money as needed? It's just very common in small businesses to people do it that way. But you're buying into this company, you're entitled to get that information, to find out, to have a picture of what you're buying into. And again, you're not asking for perfection. There's really businesses are organic and things happen. But you want to actually have transparency. You want to find out how much your future partner is willing to share with you as to the financial condition of the business. Where they're spending their credit cards to the business, where's the money going to and why they need the money. So you get that information, find out if they have any lawsuits or they're being threatened with a lawsuit. Or they're behind in some bills. Is the funds going to be used, in this case that I'm using an example, to purchase, used cars in auction to be able for resale, or it's going to be to bring working capital into the company for operations? So that's the distinction here. You got to find out what is that purpose, and also when you can expect to get that money back. I will find out, they have employees. Okay, how many employees they have? I will get their payroll tax returns. Are these employees getting paid to W-2s or they're getting paid to 1099s? That's important because, whether they are independent contractors or employees, it tells you a little bit more how the business is running. And whether or not the payroll, for example, is being run by a payroll company, or is it something that the business owner is doing himself just through, by doing the payroll? Why is this important? It is less likely to have mistakes if a payroll company does it. There are just too many intricacies in terms of running payroll that you have to be aware of, especially dealing with in the state of Florida and You're dealing with unemployment taxes, your workers' compensation. You're dealing also with payroll taxes with the state. You have to deal with payroll taxes with the federal government. There's a lot of line items that automatically are supposed to be paid with the payroll that a business owner most likely will miss if he or she does not hire a payroll company to run it. And also a payroll company will run reports that are cleaner, easier to read. So you want to get those payroll tax returns, the state payroll tax returns, I believe they call them the R6 reports, and also the 941 reports, which are the tax returns for the reporting for the IRS. You want to get those. So your due diligence that you're doing, it is pretty much the same type of due diligence you would do to buy a business. Once you gather information, and I also want to tell you, look at their accounts payable, what type of debts they have, and are they paying currently their bills. Also, the accounts receivable, what they're expecting to bring in. So it's not going to give you a full financial picture, but it'll give you enough to begin to assess how the business is doing and how your capital will be used. Because you're making an investment, you're expecting to have a return on that investment. What type of financial controls will be in that money? So say you invest $100,000 in this business for, say, 30% of the company. You get your shares, and we'll talk about some of the documents that are customarily utilized for this type of transaction. But you want to see, okay, when am I going to get that money back, and how that money is going to be used, and who's going to make the decision to spend that money. So, and those are conversations that have to be had. So you have two things here. Number one, you have a partnership agreement that has to be written, has to be drafted. And I do have a partnership questionnaire that I also utilize as part. It's supposed to trigger questions that the business owners and the future partners should have these conversations before entering into the transaction. And also then you have your stock purchase agreement that you're purchasing the shares from the owner of the company. So those documents are important to have, but at the same time, you got to have, more importantly, the conversations. You're going to find out whether or not the business owner has received any type of demand letter from a law firm, or maybe the business, a collections letter. Are they current with their current vendors, or are they behind? Again, things happen. There's nothing wrong with it, but you want to know everything you can know about this business before you invest the money, or before you decide, okay, I'm going to invest my time and my talent in this business, but if the business is not doing well, then it's going to be worth it to me? You got to make that decision. That's a subjective decision. You decide, you say, well, if I come into this company, I can turn this around, and that's fine. But to the extent that you can, you do not want surprises as you decide to join a company as a potential partner, as a new partner. You want to know everything you can, have it cleared out. I will check whether or not they have any type of loans outstanding. And you can actually, in the loans, usually, depending if there's a bank or a finance company, they usually have a UCC1. You can go to the Florida UCC, and you can type the name of the company, and it tells you whether or not a lien has been filed against the company by a creditor. It's not a judgment. It's basically a lien. You take a loan, the company's going to protect their interests, and they're going to collateralize the business for that loan. So you want to find out what happened. Where is this loan? How much is it owed? Is it current? So those are things you can find out through the public records, but the owner of the business has an obligation to tell you that. You want to find out what type of decision-making authority you would have in this business. Are you going to come in, as a silent partner just to contribute the money, then you expect money back? In the case of a car dealership, they're going to go ahead and buy a number of, say, 5 or 6 used cars, and then sell them, and then give you back your return, your principal. What type of money will you be getting back? You can also do a different format that you can actually lend money to the business through a promissory note, but that does not mean that you will get stock. So there are many different ways you can structure this, but one of the things that I recommend is that if you're about to join a company as a potential partner, you want to do your due diligence before making that decision to go forward. So say you take a look at all the documents, you say, you know what? Yeah, this is fine. I can move forward with this transaction. So at that point, then you prepare. Customarily, it's good to have a letter of intent. That is a 1 or 2 page document that kind of like the bullet points of this transaction. Says, okay, I'm going to invest in this car dealership. I'm going to purchase, say, 30% of the shares. Purchase price is going to be $100,000. You have done some of the due diligence. Closing date is going to be 2 weeks from now. It'll be, we prepare a stock transfer agreement, a stock purchase agreement. We also prepare corporate resolutions from the shareholders allowing the sale. There's also updates you have to do. If you're going to be an officer of the company, then an amendment to the Articles of Incorporation will have to be prepared and filed with the Secretary of State, in this case, Florida. You also want to make sure if you're going to join as a partner in the company and you're going to have over more than 25% of the shares, you want to, there are 2 things you got to do. Well, one of them, you want to make sure that you have the IRS form, and I don't know the number specifically, but the CPA would know that you're listed there as a partner owner of the company and with the percentage that you own in the company. A lot of people overlook this. They say just because you're in some biz, oh, you're a partner. That doesn't mean anything. Some business requires you to list the officers. There's no requirement on somebiz.org. This is where we keep Florida. This is the division of Florida that has all the Articles of Incorporation of the Florida entities. There's no requirement to put shareholders in the company, just officers, president, secretary, and treasurer. But also now, if you recall a few episodes back, you also got to file with FinCEN, who are the beneficial owners of the company. The beneficial ownership report, you have to file it with FinCEN as well. That's online. You fill it out. Anyone who has over 25% interest in the company or someone who makes a decision, management decision of the company, operational decision, will have to be also disclosed to FinCEN. And there are a couple of episodes back I talked about that. So you want to make sure as the owner of this company, part owner now, that you are actually have, that your name is recorded in the proper places. Number one, you want to make sure you have the stock certificate as well. After all these documents are signed, you're given a stock certificate, so that way you have proof of ownership. You're listed in the bylaws as well, and the bylaws can be combined with a shareholders agreement, which will outline your obligations, your duties, your responsibilities, and how the business is going to be run from a shareholder's perspective. And, talking shareholders and officers interchangeably, because in a small company, for the most part, the shareholders are also the owners, and they are the ones that run the company. A stock transfer agreement that the shares from the owner are transferred to you. So that way you have a record of that as well, and your stock certificate. And then you are part owner of the company. So you have everything you need with that. And that every year you're going to be getting a K-1 report from the accountant telling you, what is your profit and loss distribution to be able to file with the IRS. So just kind of in a nutshell, if you're going to consider joining a company, those are the things that I recommend. I also recommend that you get counsel for this. I gave you kind of a big, really limited overview of what to do, what to look for, but it's not a how-to list. So it's important for you to get counsel, especially if you're going to invest significant amount of money into a new company. Get an attorney to help you and put together all these items for you and guide you through the process to make sure that everything runs smoothly and you're able to properly join this company and not lose an investment, lose funds you can use for somewhere else. And that is done properly. That's more important. I deal with a lot of litigation, and many partnerships, in a lot of those litigation deals with partnership disputes. And when I ask the question, okay, so how much do you invest in this company? Say $100,000. Do you have any documents to reflect that? No, I have a wire transfer. Do you have a, partnership agreement? No. Do you have a stock shareholders agreement? No. Were you added to SunBiz? No. So how do you know that you're a partner? Well, I worked in the company and I got a text message, and I'm not exaggerating. It's for real. And you can say, who would do that? A lot of people do. A lot of people do. So importantly, don't cut corners, especially you're going to invest in a company. And the same thing, this also applies that if you're the owner of a company, this applies to you as well. If you're going to bring a partner in, okay, you want to make sure that you have to look also for the best interest of the company and have, number one, provide the due diligence, be transparent, but also have clearly defined bylaws, clearly defined shareholders agreement. It's very important. That way, disagreements will be avoided if those conversations take place. And I have a partnership, what is called an operating agreement questionnaire that goes through a lot of questions. And if you're interested in that question, I'm happy to provide it to you. Just send me an email at rich@richsierra.com, and I'll send it to you. And because I'd rather you have those conversations first. And whether you are considering bringing somebody in as a partner, or you're considering joining someone, just joining a company as a partner, it is important to have conversations and talk about, okay, what do you expect from me? This is what I expect from you. How's the money going to be used? And if by the end of the conversations, you decide this is not going to work out, you did not lose any money. You lost a little bit of time, but you actually, kept things clear, and maybe you kept a friendship. It is important to have the difficult conversations first. And if it doesn't work out, no big deal. Don't be enamored by the idea, okay, I said I was going to do this, now I got to continue. No, you don't have to. You can change your mind if you get new information along the way that is not in your best interest, maybe to bring a partner in or to, invest in a company, just walk away. But it's important to have the conversations first, because what happens is this. Many partnership disputes that I deal with, people do not have those conversations. And then disputes inevitably happen and end up coming to my office. Somebody comes to my office, said, my partner does this or that. My partner is not working out. He's taking too much money from the business. He's not working. And I said, you guys talked about this before? No. So early conversations avoid potential litigation, which will save you a ton of money. So that's my thought today regarding if you want to bring a shareholder to the company, what should I do? There's some guidelines, but more importantly, I do recommend whether you're bringing somebody to the company as a partner or you're going to be joining a company as a partner, seek the advice of counsel before you do to walk you through the process and make sure that this is done properly in a and you accomplished what the goal that you want to accomplish. So I think this is good for today. If you want to reach me, you can reach me via email at richsierra.com. If you're interested in our legal services that we provide for small business owners here in South Florida, it's floridasmallbusinesslegalcenter.com. Again, it's floridasmallbusinesslegalcenter.com. We're on Facebook at FSB Legal. We're on youtube.com / at Richard Sierra. We're on X at Rich_Sierra. We're on Instagram at FSB Legal. If you'd like to give us a call, the number is 866-842-5202. Please follow the podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. I certainly appreciate that. It helps the algorithms recommend this program to other business owners as well. And if you look at our YouTube channel that we have these videos, please subscribe as well. And you share it with your friends and your other colleagues. Remember that Business SOS, 8 Common Legal Mistakes business owners make and how to avoid them, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can ask for it in your local bookstores. Until next week, this is Rich Sierra. Remember that my goal is to help you succeed.